Hello, I'm John Breckenfeld, and this is an asynchronous video copy of my lecture at the conference. I work at Hanguk University of Foreign Studies, the Seoul campus, and my presentation title is right here, Don't Simply Write Your Opinion, Show a Critical Analysis. So a little bit of context first. I teach writing in the fall semester. I teach communicative English, and I have intermediate level. For 2 years, we were mostly online, and I had 300 students combined for those 2 semesters. So mostly means for about 3 or 4 weeks in November of each semester, we were back on campus. So we started online, we briefly went to campus, and then we finished the semesters online. And that means students were joining with their computers or phones, hopefully computers, so they could type. And typing online, in many cases, students were most likely using translators. And that was something that I did not discourage. And I will touch on some of the activities, how I can expect that they were just writing in English from the start, based on the type of activities that we were doing. And so my title, I do with my students, we work on writing their opinion from a first person writer or voice perspective and tone. And also the critical analysis part is that focus comes the second half of the semester after the midterm exam, which I'll introduce the calendar, the semester schedule a little bit later. So my freshman writing professor, Dr. Guido, 20 years ago, taught me the basics of sentence structure. And that would be independent clauses or dependent clauses and what sentences need to be a correct sentence, correct written, grammatically correct sentences. And so I really emphasize with my students, you need to understand what these are and differentiate between an independent clause and a dependent clause and know how to create correct sentences. And we get started focusing on compound, simple, compound, and complex sentences. After the midterm exam, we move on to compound complex, the 4th type. So here is the semester outline. And we start the semester with a lot of sentence practice. So as I said, making sure they understand. Students clearly know the difference between ICs and DCs, what they need to include in their sentences and the target sentence types. And essay 1 is a 2 or 3 week process starting around October of fall semester. So essay 2 as well, you can see later, which happens in November. And so they have an option. They can do a solo essay one time, students. Either time, essay for 1 or 2, the solo essay would be a sample cover letter. So I have them choose a corporation, company, or organization they would realistically apply to, something they're interested in. And then we work together for them to write a sample cover letter in English. And they don't have to do that. They can do the team option both times. And so the team option, they have a few different topics they can choose from. Essay 2 is a research-oriented essay where they do APA style and APA formatting, referencing. And I won't explain many other details or other details about the essays. What I'm gonna explain now will be argument, counter-argument focused writing activities and how students showcase their development in the final exam. So here are some final exam prompts. You can pause the video to read those as needed. And I will show you one result, students, 2 paragraphs that they wrote based on these prompts. I'll show you those a little bit later. I shared my own examples based on these prompts. And so what I did, and what is exciting about this type of writing, I wrote them the way I expect students to write theirs. And that would be without using any first person pronouns. So it's a 3rd person voice and a neutral tone, a tone of neutrality. And except in this case, yeah, the fully for position A and then fully for position B. And so the neutrality part is, I don't know how the student really feels. And the students don't know how I really feel about this example issue. And so that's what those are the results that I'm looking for from my students. And they had great success, especially last semester, fall semester of last year. So we had a discussion during the workshop based on these questions. So we also did some exploration, and attendees at my workshop, they did a great job. They wrote some sentences just like my students did. And so they had a few different topic options that they were considering, and I'll go right now. I'll go to another document. And I will show. Thank you for waiting. So I'll show you what we did in breakout rooms during my workshop yesterday. So this is a role play, a small group writing role play that students completed and that attendees did together. And so the topic is, the scene is a family trip. We have a student A wants to go to the mountains. Student B, they want to go to the beach. And student C is the adult, or is the third voice, the judge, who gives a verdict and makes the final decision. Let me just show you the sample sentences first. So my example here, it's about coffee or tea. 3 friends are hanging out and they're trying to decide what kind of cafe they should go to. Let me show you here. Although tea may be healthier than coffee, everyone knows tea is for babies and coffee is tastier too. Friend B counters and supports tea. While coffee may be tastier, tea is definitely healthier and cheaper, so we should save some money by getting tea. Friend C has the verdict right here. And so, as you can see, we start with a DC right there. And this would be a complex sentence, starting with a dependent clause from this subordinator word or subordinating conjunction word. And then when you add the comma, and coffee is tastier too, that makes it a compound complex sentence. This one as well, compound complex sentence with coordinating conjunction, so, a little more declarative. And so that is why the first 7 weeks of the semester, students need to understand this is a dependent clause, and this is a dependent clause. And if you leave it alone and just put a period mark and mark, it's not a correct sentence. It's a sentence fragment because it's a DC. So you need to connect it to an IC to make a correct sentence. That's why we really, really emphasize, and I really make sure they understand the difference between DCs and ICs. So this one is simply a compound sentence and another compound sentence. That's student C, friend C. Here are the directions, the details. You can pause the video to look at these one more time, the specific grammar details of the sentence structure. All right, moving down to what some attendees wrote yesterday. You can take a look. We have one group, they were debating, let's have some beer. No, let's have soju. Or sorry, the other way around. Let's have soju, student A. Let's have beer, student B, and student C gives the verdict. And then another group said, let's have Korean food, let's have American food, and student C made the final decision. So I have uploaded this document onto Discord. You can take a look, you can take a closer look and see what some students wrote as well. And I'll just scroll down to page 4. This was part 2. So the students did this activity twice. Part 2 was about a group at a school. We have the school president of 6th grade student, and we have a role of a teacher, the homeroom teacher, the role of an administrator who makes the verdict. They're talking about where they're going to take their 6th grade trip. Are they going to go to Seoul? Are they going to go to Gyeongju? And then we have the final decision. So again, in these cases, I don't know actually if student A, I don't know if they really prefer Gyeongju or Seoul. And that's not That's not what I want to know in this case. I don't want them to tell me their opinion. I want them to focus on the sentence structure and understand the argument counter argument dynamic, right? So we don't really know. I'm looking for the, their sentence production. And so the task directions are included on that Google document. This slideshow is also posted on Discord. And so one more time, these prompts were a part of the final exam. Here are the results from one student. So, does the student support traditional Korean music? Here is their evidence they presented. You can pause the video to read everything. Or, does the student prefer K-pop? Here's the evidence they presented. And so I don't really know. That's the exciting part, right? And so we did a Q&A wrap up. I don't know if the student prefers K-pop or if they prefer traditional Korean music. They don't tell me their opinion, but instead they show a critical analysis. So thank you for watching this video. Goodbye.